crew, happy Sunday and happy Easter to those that celebrate and honor this day. Welcome to Chrissy's Coaching Corner. This will be our session 4 of the series, and we will be going over life coaching for successful women, powerful questions and practical answers by Valerie Burton, who is a certified personal and executive coach. So we are on chapter 2. We really dug deep into chapter 1 for the past few weeks. And as mentioned last week, I wanted to give it the time and the attention and the space that it deserved and it needed because of the questions. And we're gonna do that with this one as well. So at this point, it's been about 3 weeks since I went over chapter 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and read chapter 2 again, and then I'm gonna answer the questions. I did answer the questions. I sat for a couple of days and actually wrote out these answers. And I gotta be honest with you guys, like in reading this book, it's really helping me work through a lot of things that I have been suppressing. So thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. And I hope you're getting something out of this series. So chapter 2 is titled, What Can Your Emotions Teach You? There's a scripture, Proverbs 29:11, which reads, Fools give full vent to their rage, but the wise bring calm in the end. I think that's really powerful because if you really think about it, we're always going to have something, right? Outlying factors that are going to bother us, maybe upset us, depress us, make us sad. But it's strength and power in not allowing your emotions to control you and to overpower you and to take over you. So that's a really powerful scripture. Now there's a point to ponder, so something we should think about. You can learn to read the messages your emotions send you. That's good too. That's really good. Each emotion gives you a reason, like you can pull from that emotion and realize, pull back and think about why do I feel this way, right? So I think that's good. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the chapter again. There are many things I've learned as a personal coach, but one of the most effective was a truth I had never considered before I heard it. The late Thomas Leonard, a pioneer in the field of life coaching, used to say, emotions are teachers. Emotions are not there to simply annoy you or make you miserable or ecstatic. The annoyance, misery, and excitement are there to get your attention and offer you clues about the state of your life, your thoughts, and what you should do next. When you learn to read the messages your emotions send you, you can literally coach yourself to higher levels of happiness and success. Today, I challenge you to simply be honest about your emotions and ask yourself, what message is being offered to me right now? Here's a quick cheat sheet to help you get started. Anger. This usually means a boundary has been crossed. Perhaps it is time to set stronger boundaries or protect yourself from trespassers. Guilt. You believe you've done something wrong. Maybe it is time to apologize, or maybe you've done nothing wrong and need to reset expectations. Jealousy. There's something you wish you had in your own life. Perhaps it is time to be grateful for what you have, or start creating a situation that reflects your heart's desires. Disappointment. Your expectations weren't met. Maybe you need to adjust your expectations. Burnout. You've exhausted your mental and emotional resources. It is time to restore your energy and fill your tank back up. Sadness. You've experienced a loss, whether the loss of something or someone you had, or the loss of the vision you thought you were going to have. Give yourself time to acknowledge and mourn your loss so you can move forward again. Anxiety. You fear danger is looming in the future. excitement. You are experiencing something that energizes you. How could you savor it and perhaps even create more of that in your life? Allow your emotions to school you, not rule you. Listen for the messages they are sending and use these as an opportunity to grow. So I found this very powerful when I was reading it, because all of your emotions are tied to a feeling, but the way you deal with your emotions makes all the difference in the world. So you can't control what emotion comes on due to something else, due to an outlying issue or something in your environment that you have no control over. You cannot control how you feel about certain things. However, you can adjust your expectations. I love the fact that in each one of the emotions that Ms. Burton mentioned, all of the resolutions to these were reset your expectations, adjust your expectations. So while you may, I'm going to use myself as a personal example. So I am a people pleaser. I'm a recovering people pleaser, I will say. I'm getting a lot better at setting boundaries, so I'm protecting my spirit and my sanity, and filling my cup and giving from my overflow, as opposed to giving and depleting myself. In the past, I would blame others and I would get annoyed and disappointed and frustrated with them for depleting me. But that's not their fault. That's on me, because if I set the boundaries, if I put the proper boundaries in place, no one would be able to deplete me. So moving forward, and what I have been working on this year for 2023 is setting clear boundaries with everyone. And I've noticed the shift. Yeah, some people don't like it because I feel like I have been accommodating a lot, a people pleaser, but that goes into childhood trauma. That's a whole nother chapter or a whole nother story we can discuss in the coaching corner at some point. But it all stems from wanting to be loved. It stems from abandonment issues. It stems from feeling like if I say no to people, they won't like me. They won't want to be around anymore. And honestly, this is me being honest with myself now, because I didn't feel like that before. I felt like I'm such a good person. I'm such a nice person. You know, I'm a good person. I'm a great person. Why are you taking advantage of me? Right? But that's not it. I have to take full responsibility for how I allow people to treat me, how I show up in the world, how I engage with other people, and what I'm willing to tolerate or not tolerate. Because someone can try you, someone can test you, but if you love yourself and if you set boundaries, there's but so much that they can get out of you, right? And it's like I'm saying, it's not their fault. So the issues that I have experienced with relationships, that was all on me. That was all on me feeling like I wasn't good enough just being in your presence, just being around you, just being a friend. I felt like I wasn't good enough. And that's something that I have had to work through, because it's really hard. It's really hard when you feel like if you don't give people what they want, they won't be around. And for me, it definitely stemmed from my childhood. It stems from a lot of things that I'm working on now as an adult from my childhood. But I really had to sit still with myself and my spirit this year and say to myself, you have to set boundaries, because if you don't, you're not going to be good for yourself. So this became more so in the this started to become more so to protect and to take care of myself, because I didn't have boundaries. I just wanted to please and do things for everyone, and I thought it was because I was a good person. But no, that's not it. And I read a book, Boundaries by Henry McCloud, that really shifted my perspective on everything. I can't blame anyone for how they treated me, because I allowed it and I enabled it, and I called it, I put it under this facade or this persona of me being a nice person. And that's not what it was. It was me wanting people to like me. It was me wanting to hold on to the relationships I had, because I don't have a lot of family, like just because of decisions I made with deciding, you know, I didn't want to be a Jehovah's Witness, and just life. I don't have a lot of family in my life, and I really feel like that's a part of it. So the people that were in my life, I didn't want them to leave, you know, like I already have this void where I don't have my father in my life. My mother passed away, and even before she passed away, she disowned me because I didn't want to be a Jehovah's Witness. So I have a lot of childhood trauma with abandonment, and just acknowledging that is powerful. So moving forward, when I was at my deepest, darkest stage of depression, I realized that it was on me and I had to do something about it. I can't blame other people for my feelings and my emotions. I have to control the narrative, and that's what I'm doing now. It can be hard and it can be challenging, because sometimes, no, not sometimes, people are not used to this transition. But I truly feel like those that really love me and have my best interest at heart and know me, they'll be there. And those that cannot accept my boundaries, were we really good friends to begin with? Or were we really as close as I thought we were? So I have to be okay with that part, where I'm accepting what is, but putting boundaries in place, because I need to love myself more. I need to love on myself, and I need to have these boundaries in place so I can thrive, because I'm still gonna be a nice person. I'm still a kind, giving person. I have a good heart. I have a really big heart. I love to give. I love to go over and beyond for my friends and my loved ones. But there's so much contentment in now it coming from an overflow, and not me giving the last of my energy to give to someone, because then you get resentful, and it's not their fault. It's your fault for not setting clear boundaries. So something I am working on now. Anyway, so let's move back to it. My challenge to you: acknowledge your emotions, then listen to what they are trying to tell you. Now, the Coach Yourself questions: what persistent emotion are you experiencing lately? What message is the emotion offering you? What action will you take as a result of that message? So this is good. This was hard. Like, she got me going through all this therapy. Like, I tell you, this is good for me. This is good for us. So if you're following along and just listening, I hope you're getting something from it. But answering these questions are hard. So let me get to it. Chapter 2. I'm going to read the question again, each question, and I'm going to answer it. Okay, so chapter 2, what persistent emotion are you experiencing lately? So if I'm being completely honest with myself, I would say sadness. Life has been really good lately in the sense of me realizing my purpose and what I'm here for. And there's been a sense of fulfillment in that. There's been peace, there's been tranquility, but my heart, I still have sadness in my heart. So there has been this constant sadness in my heart for months. I pray about it. I started off by praying that this feeling of sadness will go away, but it hasn't. I wake up with it every day. I go to bed with it every day. I think about it all throughout my day, no matter what I am doing. It has been something that I have just learned to live with and accept. I don't know if it will ever completely go away, but I know that I cannot control the outcome and the why behind my sadness. So I use it to teach and guide me. About 2 years ago, I made a decision that changed the trajectory of my life forever. I did it without consulting with God, and I am living with it to this day. It has forever changed me, and things will never be the same. This taught me some valuable lessons, however. It definitely taught me to rely on God for advice rather than myself and my flesh. I didn't have a relationship. I haven't had a relationship with God, like a serious relationship where I would pray and really listen to him and receive his word. I haven't had that since I was like 18. So I guess everything happens for a reason. I don't regret the things that I have decided to do on my own, but I think I wouldn't even call them mistakes. I would just call them hard lessons and life experiences. But in these experiences, I have grown and drawn myself closer to God because he's the steady, he's the constant, right? So anyway, let me finish. It taught me to move slowly and not aggressively. It taught me to soften up and showed me how to be vulnerable again. And there's so much nuances to this because it all stems from relationships. Having to be like the masculine person in an intimate relationship. I've had to do that, and it changed me. It made me hard and callous, and it made me project a lot of masculine energy. But the lesson that I have learned within this other experience was I am a feminine, soft, emotional woman. Like, that's just in me, and it's coming back out now. So, and I have to embrace that, and I have to be true to who I truly am. So there were a lot of lessons I learned. Yeah, okay, that was the end of that one. Question: what message is the emotion offering you? So the message that the emotion is offering me is that a relationship that I have had for decades will never be the same. And I have to accept and embrace that. I have to stop fighting myself internally to force things to go back to the way they were. My heart hurts about this every single day. But what has been done cannot be undone. And I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. There were many hard lessons with this emotion, but so much growth and so much knowledge. The message is to let go of what was and embrace what now is. Embrace it with a pure heart and mind. So the third question is, what action will you take as a result of this message? I said I will embrace the now and let go of the past. What was is gone, and instead of continuing to mourn what used to be, I will embrace the present, because the present is a present. That's so corny, but that's what I wrote. So we're gonna go with that, and that's the end of this. So I didn't think I would need any tissues for this at all, but I'm being honest. I'm not gonna re-record this. This is me and my emotions and how I truly feel. So this was a good chapter too. And so in thinking about this now, chapter 1, when I gave my answers to chapter 1, talking about the things that I had experienced in childhood with my father and the things he did to me, I got feedback. I got a phone call from a coach, a friend coach of mine that I connect with personally. off the YouTube streets, on the YouTube streets, but off the YouTube streets. And my coach friend said to me, that was heavy. That was a lot. It was a lot in a good way, but it was a lot. And to be honest with you, I think because I have done so much of the internal work to work through that, it didn't have an effect on me emotionally. Like, it was just like, this is what happened, this is where I'm at. And that's because I have healed and I have come to like some type of peace with that specific situation. This one is very new and it is still a process, and I'm still kind of going through some things, and I'm still trying to work through some things. So it's fresh. And this one hit me harder than chapter 1, where you would think chapter 1 would have been, you know, the epic waterfall, but it wasn't. So it's just something to think about. So that all that is telling me is I still have a lot more work to do when it comes to this. So excuse me, I need to get some tissue. I have a lot more work to do when it comes to this, and I'm gonna continue to work through it because this is all a part of the journey. No one's perfect. Even coaches have issues. Even coaches are still working through things. But I think being vulnerable about my feelings and expressing them, being honest and transparent, I hope in me being this honest and vulnerable, I can help someone else at least try to get through some hard times. So that is my goal. So that concludes chapter 2. And next week, what we're gonna do, I think we've kind of changed the whole format of this. So I think next week so before I come on, I'm gonna read this, answer the questions, write them out. Then I'm gonna read the chapter, and then I'm gonna do the coach yourself questions. And then maybe the week after we can touch base, and maybe someone, or you had some questions or things you wanted to talk about, or you wanted to post something about it. So that's the way we'll go moving forward. So that concludes chapter 2 and session 4 of Chrissy's Coaching Corner. Hope you got something out of this today. I know I did. As I'm talking out loud, I'm just really kind of going through things externally and internally. So thank you for listening. Thank you guys for watching. And I will see you guys next week.